Hey everyone, we are going to look at your Module 3 assignment today. So the first thing that you want to do is you definitely want to go to the Module 3 guide and read through all of this information because this is what's going to help you answer your questions that are on your assignment because it asks you about a scientific perspective. It's asking you to ask an inquiry-based question about your topic and identify the independent and dependent variables about your topic. And then also, quantitative versus qualitative data. So you definitely want to read all of this information before you complete the assignment. So we're going to go ahead and go to the assignment. There's also some extra resources here. So this talks to you about qualitative and quantitative data. This helps you with developing the question. I also have posted some resources in the class announcements that you can use to help you. So for instance, if you go to the week 3, this is kind of showing you a non-testable question versus a testable question. So you want your questions that you end up asking for this assignment to be testable. That's what inquiry-based means. So going into the assignment, we're going to go right here. So you're, just like in the previous modules, you're using your issue. So you're going to describe your issue, include any background information. Then you're going to ask an inquiry-based question that you have about the issue, identify your variables, what is the cause and effect relationship, what scientific perspectives are present, and then what is the type of data used in your sources. So using, the sources that you already evaluated, right, you're going to answer these questions. So you have a template right here that excuse me, you're talking about your issue, you're going to put your question here, your variables, right? So I would just go ahead and, just like with the others, delete the brackets and then put your own content in there. And of course I have the instructor. Let me move that over here. There we go. So using my example, right, my issue is the environmental harms of fracking. So the question part is really important because you want it to have an independent and a dependent variable. So a cause and effect relationship is how I refer to that. You don't want it to be a question that can be answered with a yes or no. Some people do a hypothesis, so like an if-then statement. So my question was, what is the impact of the number of active fracking wells in a region on the local air quality index? So that's testable, right? Because you can go out and you can monitor the active wells and you can get gas emissions from them, like, right? Like you can have like a tool to help you with that. So when you're asking your questions, you want to keep asking yourself, like, could I do an experiment from this? And what would that look like? And then that's where your independent and dependent variables come in. So your independent variable is the thing that you are testing, and the dependent variable is the thing that you're measuring. Okay, so independent variables are typically the cause, whereas the dependent variables are the effect. So, right, like I am experimenting on the fracking wells, and I am monitoring, or I am measuring the different gases, the air quality index. So is it bad? Is it good? What gases are coming out? And that's where I talk about that in like the cause and effect relationship part. So what I essentially am saying here is that, as the number of wells increases, then more than likely there's going to be worse air quality because of the fact that these wells produce, numerous air pollutants. Now, an inquiry-based question can be correct. It can also be false, right? Like it's science. So we're trying to have a question that we can perform an experiment with, collect data from, and see, what the results are. So this, this particular question may not be true, right? I could go out and I could monitor the wells and find that, nothing is coming out and the air quality index is good. So it just depends. Now, you're not actually going to go out and do this. This is all like theoretical, right? So the one that kind of confuses students the most is the components of scientific perspectives present within your sources. So that is basically just, what did they do? Like in your source that you have, did they go out and perform an experiment? Are they just making observations? Did they collect any data? Is it more a theoretical idea? So just looking at that, and that's where, reviewing your module 3 section, where the guide that I showed you, this is where it talks about the perspectives, especially like in this paragraph right here. So, just look at that and you should be able to determine, the perspective that is in your source. And then the types of data, it can either be quantitative or qualitative. Sometimes it can even be both. Quantitative data is any kind of mathematical calculations, like data tables. So for instance, in my source, we were counting the number of fracking wells and monitoring the gas emissions. So, there's lots of numbers involved in that. Whereas qualitative data is more like looking at things that can't be quantified. So like a color change, or, like a thing that doesn't produce any kind of numbers. So I would say that most data on a STEM-related issue is going to be quantitative, but you might end up with a topic that has qualitative data. And again, that's where this guide will help you, because, right, like it tells you right here what the difference is, and gives you some examples here. So if you run into any issues or trouble, let me know, because like I said, students tend to kind of struggle a little bit with this bottom part. And I have resources in the announcements about how to ask the inquiry-based questions and the independent, dependent variables. So make sure you look at those to kind of help guide you as well.